Have you ever heard that you only get one chance to make a first impression? I'm Marty T. Hawkins, and I'd like to thank you for checking in with us here at Warehousing Operations as a career. You know, whether you're a supervisor or a lead, an employee, a recruiter, or an HR generalist, maybe you're in benefits. We're all some of the first people our new and existing associates see. We greet them, walk them through the onboarding process, and sell them on how great our company is and how happy we are that they chose to work with us. As a warehouse supervisor, lead, or trainer, we're going to greet them, and it's our responsibility to walk them through our facility, give them a great orientation to all the rules, safety procedures, and processes, and cover any regulatory concerns with them, right? As a recruiter or a hiring agent, it is our job to kind of, size them up. Do they possess the skills and have the experience to do the tasks that they've applied for? Now, you're probably going to watch, our body language, how confidently we speak about our work experiences. Then you may even check our references and look us up on social media. And I think you're going to put all that together and decide if we would be a great fit for the position. But do you ever wonder what the applicant is thinking about you and the experience that they're having? I had the opportunity to speak with several new hires last week, kind of being a welcoming wagon for them. This gave me the opportunity to observe and really kind of set in on a lot of the interviews. I also got to follow some of those new hires on through the onboarding process and all the way to their facility orientation and that welcome to the team speech. Now, I had a blast. I love being around that young, new talent, and it excites me to see their enthusiasm about getting a new job and earning for their families. As great as everything went, I did have a few thoughts though, and today I wanted to talk about those. Are we as employers and us as employees really doing all that we can for each other? Let me give you a couple of examples real quick. Okay, a recruiter was interviewing an individual for a skilled warehouse position, and I was asked to follow up with the applicant as this was a bit of a unique situation and task. Anyway, the recruiter had interviewed them, told them that I would be right in, and went next door to start interviewing another applicant. The recruiter finished up there and came to get me to speak with the first one while telling the other one I'd be with them next. Now, I don't think the recruiter did particularly anything wrong, but I got to wondering if the applicants maybe felt they were part of a conveyor system. As you can imagine, my interviews take a little bit, especially if I'm trying to ascertain one's actual skills and work history. You all know how easily I can get off subject and run down an entirely off-subject rabbit hole. I mean, isn't the applicant probably gathering an impression of us and the company, also? That's kind of the first opportunity that the prospect have met us, face to face anyway. They may have checked out our website, learned a little about the company, maybe even reached out to a friend that may have had an experience with us before, but this is the first time that they're seeing our building, meeting us, and seeing a little interaction around our offices. Do you think we always make a great and really a grand first impression? If we appear to be hurrying through an interview and trying to get to the next person in the room next door, or maybe have a little bit of a long delay waiting on the second interviewer to come visit with them, even if it's just their perception, did we give them the first impression that we deserve? We're all good people. We care about them and really want to help them find work. But could they tell that? Do we always really make them feel, that way as hiring agents, human resources, and the benefits department? I went out to several facilities while the new hires were being walked in and passed on to their new leads, supervisors, or trainers. Now, we all know how busy these men and women are. Attending to a new hire is quite disruptive to their shifts. One facility did an outstanding job here. The trainer was introduced to her new hires, greeted each new associate, set them down, and told them that she would be right back. She had her radio with her. She'd been carrying a clipboard, what looked like some batches that she'd pulled out to distribute to trainees that she was going to be working with. Anyway, she showed back up in like 5 minutes. Her hands were empty, and she got on her radio, announcing to everyone on the other end that she'd be walking a group of new hires around and that she'd be back with them in about 30 minutes. And then she turned off her radio. I think that was the most in-depth facility orientation and new hire tour that I'd ever been through. She spent about 40 minutes with us. As she would explain something to us, she'd ask if we had any questions, really selling the supervisors and the company on us. She dropped off each new hire with their assigned supervisor and told each of them that she'd be checking in with them throughout the shift. Shoot, I almost wanted to go work for her at that point. Now, all the other facilities did good too, but I couldn't help but wonder if they could have done a little better. During their walkthrough, they were constantly interrupted. I couldn't help but notice the others definitely picked up on the fact that the supervisor was very, very busy. He hustled us to the safety stations, the eye washes, showed us the evacuation routes, etc., all while explaining the job descriptions, processes, and procedures to us. He dropped one guy off with a loader and one guy off with a sanitation person and told them both to follow their teammates' instructions and that he'd be back to check on them later. Now, these were experienced warehousemen. I'm certain that their feelings weren't hurt at all and that they did just fine with the welcoming and their orientation. But I couldn't help wondering what kind of first impression their new supervisor had left them with. Well, then of course, me being me, I observed what kind of first impression we employees were leaving with the trainer and the supervisors. Oddly, the associates walking with the trainer were very engaged, asking questions, talking about their experience, and showing genuine excitement about their new position. While on the other hand, the employees walking with the supervisors that were conducting business during their walk and honestly kind of rushing through it, they didn't ask one single question. Now, I'm sure those supervisors hated that I was along for the walk. They were perfectly polite to us and did a great job of answering all my questions. I felt like the employees could have changed the whole tempo of these orientations by talking up more, speaking up. It wasn't that the supervisors weren't willing to take the time to explain more and answer any questions, that were presented. I think the new associates simply fed off that perception of being busy and just fell in line with that thought process. So then I got to wondering what kind of first impression we employees had left with the trainer and the supervisors. I'm probably overthinking the whole first impression thing, right? But what if I'm not? I think we'd all agree both employers and employees should be working at leaving a better impression of ourselves with the others. Slow down and make sure others know how excited and appreciative we are of our new relationships. Talking about all these behaviors, I wanted to share a couple of other things real quick. Being a supervisor means, yep, I get to look up another definition. Wikipedia tells us a supervisor gives instructions to subordinates. Be held responsible for the work and actions of other employees. Nowhere does it state that our subordinates should be afraid of us, or that we can single out people to pick on or pick at. Write-ups should be used as coaching tools, not big 2x4s to hit somebody with. We as young supervisors need to be taught that, and yes, we are responsible for our employees' actions, but by ensuring they're doing their jobs, doing them well, we're able to perform our jobs, right? I have the pleasure of working with a couple of young soups right now. That's a hard job. One of the hardest jobs that I know of, but it can be much easier when we accept it as a job. There is a title, but it's really just a job, and now it's our job. I'm sure there was a time when we thought, man, when I have that position, things are going to be different. Let's all watch our behavior. Pay attention to the impression we're leaving with others. Now, of course, we have to be stern at times, but we'll make a better impression on others if we're always fair and consistent with our decisions. And us as employees, I witnessed some behavior this week that left great impressions on me, and some definitely not so great impressions as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a job, a career opportunity. What kind of an impression are we leaving if we're always complaining, using profanity all the time, and not acting like a team player? Now, we should certainly speak up if we're not being treated right or an injustice has been placed on us, but let's remember to be professional about it. Again, this is a job, nothing larger than that. As an employee, have you ever wondered what kind of first impression you made with a new hire or a new teammate? Well, there's a few of my thoughts on behaviors and first impressions. Send me an email to host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com and share some of your thoughts on this subject, or tell me how far off the page I am. If you enjoy our episodes each week, I'd appreciate a quick share to a friend, and maybe a like and a follow on our Facebook and Twitter feeds. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Until next week, please be responsible, be safe, and make a great safety impression on a teammate.